pressure do you have to perform from day one?
There's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. I've been getting pressure since I was 10 years old. I'm doing something that I love to do. That's play the game of basketball. Y'all like to watch me play basketball. It hasn't kicked in yet to what I'm getting myself into. It hasn't kicked in yet to what I'm getting myself into.
Welcome back to Calculated Confusion Exposed. Today we are going to be covering, of course, LeBron James. His occultic ties has granted him favoritism in the NBA. We are going to look at several clips that first show him pledging his allegiance. Then we will take a look at how these occultic ties has garnered him favor in the NBA.
Terrific NBA Saturday primetime matchup that might have some history, as the current Laker great could pass the former Laker great. All he needs is 18 points, so LeBron James will pass Kobe Bryant as the third all-time leading scorer in NBA history. There's James, goes across the lane, lays it up, and lays it in, and there it is. He just became the third leading scorer in NBA history, passing Kobe Bryant. Another milestone for the great LeBron James in his 17th season.
Having Kobe as a spectator in your games and sort of cheering you on as you were chasing this record.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. That's pretty much how I'm gonna be when I'm done playing. Being able to come back and watch this beautiful game, and hopefully, there's somebody still playing the game at a high level. That guy across the hallway, Ben Simmons, I can sit and watch him and see how much he's continued to grow and watch him, see him continue to do what he do, because he's growing every day. So, I mean, it's a pretty cool thing to see him and see Gigi at the games and just, it's a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood being a part of the Lakers franchise, and it's a pretty cool thing to see him and see Gigi at the games and just, it's a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood. It's too many. It's too many. It could be the last game we played against each other in Staples. It could be his last All-Star game. Right there at halftime, he was getting interviewed by the great Craig Sager, rest in peace. That is an unbelievable moment right there. And I went over there and hijacked this interview, you know, so us winning a gold medal together, some of the things that, us going to some of the other events for Team USA, you know, watching Phelps or, you know, so many different things that we did together as teammates. So, you know, like I said, I was a 15-year-old kid who was able to meet him. I was in awe, you know, and he gave me a pair of his shoes. It's not just one. It's impossible to just single out just one of them, but it's cool to know that you have the support of one of the all-time greats that ever played this game, and someone that you admired, to be like on the floor and do the things, win championships, be young, and be remembered. You know, you don't have that much time to play this game, and you know, if you're able to be remembered, you know, for the great things that you did, the positive things that you did, you know, making people feel, you know, great about what you did, that's a pretty cool thing. So I wrote on my shoes tonight. I think I put Mamba for life, 824 KB, because it's really that mutual. So.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Don Lemon. Right now, so much of the world is just in shock and disbelief, trying to process what has happened today and make some sense of this gigantic loss. Here's what we know right now, and even though it has been several hours, it is still stunning to say the words that Kobe Bryant, the legendary NBA star, is dead tonight. His adorable 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, known as GJ, also dead tonight. A pilot, all dead. The helicopter they were traveling in crashed outside of Los Angeles. No word yet on why it crashed, but it went down and it caught fire on a hillside in Calabasas, California, about 30 miles outside of Los Angeles. Everyone on
Oh shit! It's Kobe Bryant!
Help me.
Just pass me the trophies and we'll pull you out.
Pass. These were Shaq's anyway.
Black Mama doesn't end. Heroes come and go,
but legends are forever. Arrivederci. So I should have been.
Black Mama doesn't end. Heroes come and go,
but legends are forever.
Are these all coincidences? You decide. Moving on, LeBron James makes it even more clear that he is a part of a Freemason cult. Let's take a quick glance at the Black Boule. A group of black sellouts that are heavily involved in Freemasonry.
Boule. A lot of you people may not, and then you probably never heard of this called the Black Boule. For my thinkers out there, I'm sure you have heard of the term the Black Boule. For you who haven't heard of the word Black Boule, we're going to be talking about that today. Who are the Black Boule? The Black Boule are basically your elite in the media, the news, the sports, music, acting, politics, or your military. Okay? Basically, rich elite homosexuals living in society today. I did a broadcast a couple of weeks ago about the gatekeepers, and the Black Boule are the gatekeepers for so-called black people. Okay? What is their role, the Black Boule? To be the gatekeepers, like I just said, and to bring so-called black people into the pits of hell. Okay? And how does the Black Boule become the Black Boule? Well, most of them go to universities, and they go to universities and they get indoctrinated into a thing called a frat, or today is basically a fraternity, and they're basically freak fraternities, or what you later used to be called Greek fraternities, Alpha, Kappa, and Sigma Phi, So they get indoctrinated with these Greek fraternities or universities, because that's what the ancient Greeks used to do. They would have people like Plato and Socrates and Hermes and these guys, and they had things called mentors, and they would have sex with their mentors, little boys, literally, right? So when you go and you're in a university and they pick you to be in these frats, they do a thing called hazing. And when they do this hazing, they put you through a whole bunch of really gruesome rituals that you have to go through. And if you pass these rituals, they literally brand you. So you might see some football players with some grotesque skin flesh wounds on their shoulders or their side or their arms. It's because they got branded. And they're brothers and sisters for life, okay?
As you can see, he wears it proudly on his chest. The final thing we are going to look at is the level of favoritism he receives in the NBA. Let's just roll the clips.
Number 5, the Cavs' ridiculous luck. In 2011, the Cavs had a 2.8% chance of getting the first pick. They actually had 2 lottery picks that year, but the one that landed first was the pick they got from the Clippers, and that was only a 2.8% chance. The other pick landed at number 4, which they used to draft Tristan Thompson. In 2013, they had a 15.6% chance, which is fairly reasonable, although still a surprise they got it again. However, in 2014, with a 1.7% chance, the Cavs once again won the lottery. Okay, now this is getting a bit too out of hand. There were conspiracies in 2011 that the league granted the Cavs the first pick because they felt bad they lost LeBron for nothing. In fact, the odds of the Cavs getting the first pick in all 3 of those years was 1,493 to 1. No team in NBA history has had this kind of luck in the lottery before. If you consider the circumstances surrounding this, with 2010 being LeBron's departure and 2014 being LeBron's return, it's starting to look sketchy. The time period seems way too convenient. While 2011 was a huge topic of debate, it was the 2014 lottery that caught my attention. In the 2014 offseason, LeBron returned to Cleveland, and coincidentally, the Cavs got the first pick with just a 1.7% chance. What's even more convenient is that the Cavs needed this pick in order to trade for Kevin Love, who LeBron wanted on the team. Did LeBron somehow predict the Cavs' 1.7% chance would win the first pick, and told them he'd only return if they made the trade for Love? Here's the timeline of events. In May, the NBA lottery was broadcasted, with the Cavs winning the first pick. In June, the NBA draft commenced, with the Cavs drafting Wiggins. In July, LeBron announced his return to Cleveland. In August, Wiggins got traded to Minnesota for Kevin Love. So basically, let's say the Cavs did not get the first pick. They likely would not be able to trade for Love. This means LeBron probably would not return, as he preferred to play with another star. He made that very clear. Or did the league already know LeBron would sign with Cleveland long before he announced it, and purposely give the first pick to the Cavs so they can acquire Love, so LeBron can return and immediately play alongside two other superstars? I mean, that's a great homecoming story, and the NBA loves these kind of stories. But it just seems so unlikely for all of this to happen in a perfect timeline, unless something was going on behind the scenes. Number 4.
When you're a competitor, you will do anything to gain an advantage over the next guy. In 2011, when LeBron couldn't win a championship in Cleveland, he took his talents to South Beach to join Chris Bosh and D Wade, creating the NBA's first super team. He was expected to win by everyone. At the time, he hadn't won his first chip, and everyone was doubting the king. Fortunately, in his 4 seasons with the Heat, he won 2 championships, silencing all the haters and cementing himself in the GOAT conversation. But in 2013, IBN Sports Wrap covered a story about an employee named Jessica, who worked for a health clinic just outside of Miami called Biogenesis of America. The founder, a man by the name of Anthony Bosch, infamously known for supplying PEDs to stop baseball players such as A-Rod, Milwaukee Brewers outfielder Ryan Braun, and a handful of others connected to the Biogenesis scandal in 2013. Jessica worked as an assistant for Bosch and kept track of pretty much every financial transfer at the clinic. While keeping track of these financial transfers, one of the initials that stood out to her were LJ, who she claimed to believe was LeBron James. Jessica said that a man by the name Mr. Paul came in every month, once a month, to pick up products for the initials LJ. As for what those products were, Jessica didn't know. However, she did say that Mr. Paul was a friend of LJ's, and coincidentally enough, LeBron's best friend and agent's name is Rich Paul. There's no confirmation that Mr. Paul was in fact Rich Paul, but Jessica said some of her coworkers were 100% sure that LeBron was a client of the clinic and was the person with the initials LJ. The other initials that stood out to her were JN, and confirmed that JN was former Orlando Magic point guard Jameer Nelson. She said Jameer came to the clinic in person, picked up his products, and paid in cash for them.
It seems like LeBron is not going to be slowing down anytime soon. In fact, it almost seems like he's getting better. But how? What's up everybody, it's Jimmy, and when it comes to sports, Father Time is still undefeated. One day, inevitably every athlete will have to come to terms with the fact that they aren't who they used to be. How has LeBron somehow transcended time, halted his aging process, and at one point even got more explosive as time passed? I mean, the man is a freak of nature, yes. He'll go down as one of the best athletes to ever touch a basketball. But there may be more to this story. Now, before I dive any deeper into this discussion, I want to make 3 things very clear. 1, I will be making some very bold theories within this video, but I'm not accusing anyone. Within this video, there will be facts that when strung together seem to point to a certain conclusion, but I don't have any proof nor any authority on the matter. 2, if you've been following my channel, you know LeBron James is my favorite player of all time. This is not a knock on my man Bron. This is just an analyzation of a timeline of events that seem to all lead back to the same conclusion. And 3, anytime I say the word in this video, I'm gonna censor it. Hey, people at YouTube, if you're watching this, nothing going on here. We're not talking about anything. Move along. Now, back when LeBron joined the league, there wasn't much speculation about his physical abilities. He was young, he was a physical specimen. But then the Miami era happened, and immediately people began to question what they were seeing. His muscle gain, his incredible recovery time, and his ability to play night in and night out with almost no rest. Like usual, people assume the worst. Steroids. Damn. It hurts just to say the word in context with Bron, but let's first look at the facts. For NBA players, there are basically 3 major ways to enhance your physical performance. Steroids, thought to be the drug of choice of all professional athletes, but this is actually not the case for NBA players. A naturally occurring hormone that stimulates the bone marrow to produce more red blood cells. Basically, it vastly improves your aerobic capacity. And HGH, otherwise known as the anti-aging serum. This helps regulate body composition, boosts muscle and bone growth, helps with recovery, and gives athletes a huge boost in energy. Steroids and PEDs can vastly help with recovery time, fat loss, healing after an injury, sustaining high energy levels, and increasing endurance. Now, back to our story. In Miami, LeBron became more than just a freak of nature. In fact, he became suspiciously inhuman. He gained 25 pounds of almost pure muscle and he just didn't look the same. Add that to the fact that he only missed 14 games in 4 seasons in Miami, and this is where eyebrows began to raise. Teammates began to slow down. LeBron was getting faster. Rolls his ankle, back the very next game like nothing ever even happened. Plays night in and night out, doesn't miss a beat, not once, and people were taking notice. Some of the effects to HGH use, muscle gain, hair loss, and this is speculation though, not fact. But then during the middle of the season, LeBron took 2 weeks off while the Cavs were struggling to go back to Miami to revitalize and rejuvenate. Now, is it just a coincidence that LeBron went down to Miami in the middle of the season because he needed some mental and physical rest? Possibly. And while this wouldn't be so hard to believe, if LeBron didn't come back from the trip more explosive and energized than ever before, it just doesn't add up.
But the first thing that caught my eye is that in 2009, LeBron had to surgically remove a growth on his jaw, which in my interpretation is questionable. But as I said, this isn't really conclusive, so there's really no definitive proof to understand what symptoms he would be having, because we don't even know what particular PEDs he's hypothetically using. So that's another symptom that gave me questions, but nonetheless really doesn't provide any context. But the one that definitely raised my eyebrows and really gave me inspiration to start venturing back and do some research was the recent article, I want to say written by Brian Windhorst, where he says it was documented that LeBron James in 2014 in the Eastern Conference Finals started the game at 271 pounds and by the end finished at 278. Now, I don't know scientifically how you could even explain that or how that even be possible. Now, this seems like folklore, especially when you first read it, but it's been verified not only by media members, but Miami Heat medical staff have also verified that this actually happened. And in the following offseason, he obviously decided to go back to Cleveland. And this is when the media was highly publicizing his weight loss. He was quote unquote on a new diet, which all was ironically enough around the same time it was being documented that Chris Paul is going to be vehemently fighting against the HGH testing policy in the NBA. Now, not only that, here's a picture of what LeBron was looking like when the season started versus what he looked like in the finals, and easily the most questionable period of his career that will probably be forgotten when it's all said and done. But it was that 2-week period where he left the Cleveland Cavaliers after he was supposedly dealing with injuries, physical fatigue, and he was in Miami for 2 weeks. And after that 2-week quote-unquote vacation, he was looking like a new player altogether.
It was the home opener for the Los Angeles Lakers on October 25th, 2019. That's right, before this whole pandemic thing. They were set to play the Utah Jazz, but first they had a little presentation, you know, like an intro. It looked to be just like any other normal player introduction until this popped up out of nowhere. Wait, go back. Pause it right there. What is that? Well, I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks to be some random guy in a full-on hazmat quarantine suit wearing none other than a face mask. Sure, that's nothing unusual nowadays, but let me remind you again of the date that this took place. October of 2019, way before this became a normal everyday thing to see. Okay, I know they clearly had some sort of lab testing theme going on in the video, but that's the whole point of subliminal messaging. to make it appear as something seemingly insignificant, but at the same time, intentionally placing the truth right under your nose, without you even realizing it. I mean, of course the fans in the building didn't think much of it at the time, but the fact that it literally says the word warning constantly throughout the entire thing, I think there was much more going on than what meets the eye. I know you can make something out of anything if you look hard enough, but the fact that I wasn't the only one to notice this adds even more validity. Take a look at this comment, a preview of things to come.